All right, friends, we are back with another one. This is a breakdown of my track Get With You. It is currently my latest track. It's out on Spotify and everywhere. Go check it out if you haven't listened yet. It is 10 p.m. I'm a bit tired, but we're gonna get this done. Let's listen to it. You get the idea, and you can listen to the full track on Spotify, obviously. Let's get right to it. So this is basically techno, or maybe not. I don't know. It's just a cool track. It's at 130 BPM. It's a bit faster than what I normally do at 125, 127. Let's call it techno, but a lot of people are going to get mad because I called it that, I'm sure. But let's get through it. From top to bottom, we've got our percussion here. Always at least two snares, or like two snares and a clap, two claps and a snare. Sometimes processed differently, panned differently. Here we've got actually they're stacked here on top of each other with some slight EQ and a bit of reverb on each. But I'm going to go through a bit more of the processing here. For my drums, I like to put on the Lex Vintage plate. I've been using that reverb on drums for years. I've been using the same template for my sessions for years. This has been on for a very long time. It's instrument plate. It's a small kind of, almost like a small room. Well, it's a plate, but it's a small reverb. It's not big. I don't like to put a lot of reverb on my drums and percussion unless it's for a particular effect. So just two snares here, basic stack. Let's go to the hi-hats. So these are basic small kind of closed hi-hats just to set the pattern. After that, we jump into the more open hi-hats, the typical kind of techno. And here we've got 4 of them somehow. Wow, okay. So yeah, they kind of all play against each other to create a rhythm, like and a bit very light processing, as you can see here. Same reverb on all of them, basic EQ. I just get rid of as much low as possible. Always crank up basically the entire high shelf, because whatever. Take out anything that's not needed here. And I love using, if you use Logic or anything, I mean, you can find this anywhere, a spreader. It's just sort of like a stereo effect. It's a sample delay, and you can choose your delay here. And it kind of creates like a stereo effect. It's very cool. And you can mix your drums that way. When you have 4 or 5 different elements, you can space them out differently throughout your mix. As you can see here, we've got the spreader on one. The other one is panned to the left, halfway, basically. This one is center, this one is panned to the right. So they all kind of play against each other. All right, so right down here, we have this kind of cool sound that plays in the second part of the drop. This right here, this is my favorite thing in the entire track. This kind of sets the tone for it. It gives it that kind of old school techno, and even that bit of trance. There's a Tiesto track, I think, that has like a similar kind of hit. The one that's like bop, 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 bop. Flight 643, or no, probably something else. Yeah, this sound really kind of creates a cool atmosphere for the song, and it adds like a nice accent to the downbeat, the upbeat rather. So it goes like this. Yeah, so you got the kick on the down, and then this is like pop on the up. It creates that nice rhythm. And then we've got several sounds throughout, just to kind of add some more excitement to the drop. We've got this sweeping hits here. It just adds excitement. When you have different parts of the song playing, it's nice to kind of have these changes. It's something called change before change. So it's a small change in the song that indicates that something else is going to happen next. See, you create the change here before the change that's here. I'll get into that concept more in later videos, but for now, we'll just run through it. And down here, we've got the main kind of sub and bass line. It's just a one note. Bump, ba-da, bump, ba-da, bump, ba-da, that kind of thing. Added to that, it's kind of similar to like the techno rumble. It's just kind of like an atmospheric sound that kind of pumps throughout the song. When you hear it soloed, it sounds like this. It's just noise, basically. And there's another one. So that's sidechained with the kick, obviously, so that it kind of pumps throughout the song and kind of fills the atmosphere, adds that bit of darkness and depth underneath, without being actually too dark, because it's not really a dark song. Also, there are a bunch of little sounds that run throughout. So these sounds here are basically what you just heard combined with what we had here and here. See how they all interact together. And then we have the vocals running throughout, which I'll get into more, but this is sort of a sample that I cut up and put in the drop. Turn it up.
With you, wanna get 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 with you.
That vocal really makes the song basically what it is. And we'll hear it all together again. That's basically the entire body of the drop. I mean, there's not much going on. It's quite simple. Like I always say, I do keep it simple, but it's several layers that are stacked, you know, one simple layer after another, and it creates this big stack. The two main elements in the drop are the bass here, the sub. It's sort of a basic sine wave here with a bit of distortion. I like using Zebra for that. The processing chain you can see here, compression, camel fat, classic, some more distortion, and that's really about it. Get rid of all the highs for it. And obviously it's sidechained as well with the kick. And this other element is just adding, it's copying the same line. It's just to add the accents so that you can hear it better on smaller speakers if you don't really get the sub impact. It's a really simple hit. That's it. So in essence, the main theme of the song is here.
I love it when you do. Makes me feel like I wanna get
chords here. With another bass line added. Again, using Zebra for that. And the Camel Crusher classic plugin, check it out, just to add a bit more bite to the bass line, to the bass synth. And we've got this cool effect here that's kind of a pitch bend synth that runs throughout, but I cut it up in this way. This is what the MIDI looks like, and I wanted to sort of have like a gate effect, but I wasn't able to achieve what I wanted with the plugins, so I bounced it out and then I just cut it up manually like that. It took longer, but it really gave me the effect that I wanted. That's it. This is a motif that I have running throughout the song. Very simple, just to kind of add a bit more momentum so that the drop is not just, you know, the bass. We have something interesting going on. And it comes and goes throughout the song, and comes in the drop, it comes here. So basically the whole passage. It kind of starts to fade away here because the build-up elements come in. So the main vocal is right over here.
Turn it up, I love it when you do. Makes me feel like I wanna get with you. Turn it up, I love it when you do. You know I like to move, you got nothing to prove.
I'm going to show you the vocal chain really quickly. Basic EQ, that's kind of boring, but I don't care about that. This is a really cool plugin. I think this is a free plugin too. The vocal doubler from iZotope.
Turn it up, I love it when you do.
Notice without.
Turn it up, I love it when you do. Makes me feel like I wanna get with you. Turn it up, I love it when you do.
It's basically a chorus. It's a huge chorus effect, and you can choose the number of voices that are playing, and how much they separate, and how much variation is in between them. You can kind of see it physically. It's very cool. Check it out. It adds a really nice color to your vocals, makes them pop out a little bit more and more. It makes them just more interesting overall. This is just a filter that I have for whatever reason. Serum effects. We've got some more kind of dimension expansion, and the phaser effect as well, because I wanted to go with like a kind of a phaser chorusy effect for the vocals. It just kind of it gave it kind of like a trippy feel, which fit the song well. And then reverb and delay stack, the H delay from waves, very basic kind of quarter
Turn
note.
it up, I love it when you do.
You hear that? Do 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 do. It adds a nice tone to the signal. The delay, any effect that you use on your signal will affect the color of the signal. So you want to use good plugins that don't destroy your signal. You want something that, even if it's a delay, the delay is going to change the way your signal sounds. So choose something that sounds good. This delay sounds good. This reverb is the same one that I was using for the drums. and a bit of parallel compression as well, just to kind of make the vocals pop out, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the song. So I don't want the vocal to be buried by all the instruments. And I still want the instruments to be loud too, because it's a hot mix. So everything is kind of popping out without kind of having all the elements outdo each other. You add a bit of parallel compression just to kind of hit the transient that's a bit better. I'll get into that more in other videos, but this is just a quick run through. So that's basically the middle part, where the main theme is unveiled. And we'll go back to the intro real quick.
Turn it up. I love it when you do.
This is a cool little thing here. It kind of foreshadows what's going to happen next in the song. And it's a good way to introduce your the edited version of the song versus the extended mix. If you don't know what that is, again, I'll get into it in a different video. But with DJs, you make an extended mix that's easier to mix and an edit that's easier to listen to. So more on that later in another video.
Turn it up. I love it when you do.
That's pretty much it. And then it kicks into the main pattern. I do this quite a bit with my songs, and it's a typical thing that you do in electronic music, this kind of looping. It's like using the vocal as an instrument, rather than creating a song that's a ballad, basically. This is not a ballad, this is just a song that has a phrase in it that's sampled over and over. With other songs that I'll break down later on, in other videos, it's more of a song, so there's less of this and more of a verse and a chorus and so on. And I did also unveil the kind of main phrase of the vocal here in the intro.
Turn it up. I love it when you do. Makes me feel like I get with you. Turn it up. I love it when you do. You know I like to move. You got nothing to prove. Turn it up. 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 Turn it
I wanted to create a gap here and then a kick and then stop, and then we go into the actual drop because there's a lot of stuff going on here. I don't like to do too much in my build-ups, but I also don't like my build-ups to be just like a snare build-up with nothing going on, because that's boring. I like to add a lot, but I also like to cut a lot. As the build-up builds up, you cut a lot. You cut in terms of volume and EQ. Again, I'll explain that further in another video. But you can see here the typical build-up elements, the sweep, snare build-up, the pitch, the synth hits, some more noise, the arpeggio. And right here we have that synth hit that we use later. And I actually had a piano chord that I struck and then added a bunch of reverb to it, and then I printed that, and then I reversed it and I used it as a sweep kind of build. Again, I'll show you how to do that in a different video. I don't want to use up all the time right now. And then we have one kick, a touch of silence, and then we jump into the drop just to kind of reset. This is something that Morgan Page talks about a lot. It's like you're resetting the limiters in a club if you play this live. Check out Morgan Page's production tips. He's excellent when it comes to that. But you want to reset the volume before you jump into another loud part. So it goes from loud, quiets down, we go almost completely silent, and then we go back into the loud, because you need that variation and dynamics. You can't just go loud, 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 loud all the time. You got to go loud, quiet, loud, quiet, loud, quiet, and so on. It gives people a break too. that's essentially it. I want to make this video fast. I don't want to bore you guys. Let me know in the comments what you'd like me to focus on, or if you enjoy watching this, or if you want them to be longer or shorter. I'm not a YouTuber, so I don't know how to do this stuff. I'm just breaking down the productions that I'm making. Hopefully it's making sense in some way. But if you have any questions, hit me up in the comments, message me, whatever. I don't care where. I hope this helped. I hope this was inspiring in some way. Go check out the track on Spotify or anywhere you listen to music, and let me know what you think. And that's it. Keeping things simple, cool vocal, a cool theme, a strong kick, a strong bass line, and a couple of themes and motifs. Motif just means pattern. A pattern that runs throughout. That's all you really need. Later on, we'll get into things more intelligently and technically, and where you can kind of build things that are not really heard, but they're felt in a production, just to make things better overall. But I hope this helped for now. And I'll see you guys next time for the next song. Hit me up, subscribe, do all that stuff, whatever. See you later.